Okay.
My other ones, I'm like digging it out. Like there's just, hello, we might be live. Hello, I think we're live. This is exciting.
Nikki doesn't like her makeup.
I hate my makeup. Now you know. Okay, this is Nikki Tarampo.
Heather Clark.
We were with 50 First Chapters, and we already did our live session on Show Don't Tell, but now we're going to give you an example of Show Don't Tell. If you missed the other one, you can just hang out here, or I'll get it on my, I'll get it on YouTube pretty soon. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do a screen in picture thing. So let me pause and do this thing.
Yay.
Now, I thought I could do just the doc. Chat us somewhere.
Full screen the doc, maybe. Can you?
Yeah, but I thought that I could do... Here, I can... I'll try to make this as big as possible. How do I make it so that the... Sorry, guys, I thought... Oh, here we go, here we go. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can, like, really, really see it.
Nice.
Okay, here we go. Okay, we're going to read this tiny little scene, which has, like... issues on it that Heather pointed out. Like,
no, it's fine.
It's fine. It's not the end of the world. Okay, but I typed this up, and it has, this is my envisioning of what someone might do if they are trying to show and not tell. And this writer did, well, it's me, so.
This writer.
This writer is amazing. No, I'm just kidding. But this writer did like a pretty good job. And then we're going to go over some ways to make this a little punchier. So but this writer is not just only telling. They've specifically tried to only show. And they did a pretty good job, but we're just going to take it up a notch. Okay? So that's really all it is. So with her forefinger, Dahlia pricked her finger on the pin. I know, that's not great writing, but whatever. I just said, can you say pricked? She pricked the pin?
No, because that
doesn't work.
She pricked it.
She pricked it.
You just say, Dahlia pricked her forefinger on the pin.
Whatever. So just imagine that it says that, okay? Just imagine what it says, whatever it needs to say to not be lame. Okay. The desert around her melted away like a sandcastle in the wind, replaced by a deeply clouded sky, an expansive ocean, and the call of seagulls scavenging in the surf. She winced. Gulls bickered over a pink and teal starfish, big as her chest shield. Misty rain dampened her cheeks. A swirling sensation tore through her. The alternate world, it existed. She turned. Only forest greeted her. This was bad. Okay, so we have a lot of good things happening here. We have missing rain dampening her cheeks, which is the physical world interacting with her. That's good. We have the call of seagulls. We have some sounds. We have some bickering going on, which is active. Okay, we have her feeling, you know, or her pricking her finger on pain, whatever. Like there are some good things happening here. But we have some problems too. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this down now into its motivation units. So this and this are exactly the same. The only difference is I split these up into each, so each sentence has its own paragraph, and then we labeled it, okay? So I still, this was the old version, but with her forefinger, Dahlia pricked the pin, which apparently maybe it needs to be the pin pricking her, but whatever. So that's the first motivation. And that's the first thing that happens to her. Right here we have the desert around her melted away, yada, yada. That's another motivation. You'll notice there's no reaction to the first motivation. Okay, now we have she winced.
So now we don't know what that has to do with the next thing.
Now, visceral reaction. I know as the author that I want this to be the visceral reaction to motivation 1, but the reader doesn't know that. So the reader could think that she's wincing at the desert melting away and all the stuff that is happening. But I'm telling you as the author that I actually was envisioning that she thinks all this stuff is cool and that I'm referring to this with this she winced. So that's a little error on the part of the author.
So it's out of order.
That the reader, yes, that the reader might get hung up on. If she goes on and talks on and on about how much she loves this world, the reader is like, I don't understand where I got confused. I thought she didn't like it when she first got there. And that will never be explained, and the reader will never understand why she thought that. And it's because of the out of orderness here. So next one, goals bickered, blah, blah, blah. That's the next thing she sees. That's her third motivation. A swirling sensation toward her. This is a really big one. Is this another motivation, or is it a reaction to something? Is she having this?
Both.
Yeah, so what is it? And as an author, I was going for a reaction.
I think it is the reaction.
Right, but it could be a motivation. She could be being possessed by a demon right now. I mean, that demon is like literally swirling inside of her. We don't know this is fantasy. Like, we haven't, don't know,
Yeah, that's true. We don't know.
you know, we really don't know. So you really got to shore this up. You got to tell
was
us,
this a physical sensation?
was this something new happening to her? Or is this what her body is doing in reaction to this? And we don't know. The alternate world that existed, that's a thought. And we kind of know that it's in response to something up here, but it's not like super shored up. Then we have she turned. That's her decision and action all stated in one shot. Only Forrest greeted her. That's motivation 4 or 5, depending on how you counted it before. But the paragraphing suggests high stakes.
Because
so like,
it's
it was
by
like dun,
itself.
dun, dun. Yeah, look, so it's
Only
like she turned.
Forrest
Only Forrest greeted her. We have no idea why
This
this
was
is
bad.
this was bad. And that's, I mean,
That's
I don't want to
great.
make fun
I like
of it. And it's interesting, but we don't know what. Sorry, down here. We suggest high stakes, but they are unspecified as of now. This was bad. That's a thought. Sorry, I should have written thought here. Whatever. So that's part of the reaction of an MR unit. Sorry. So it's fine, but it's not like the coolest thought ever. It's not super voicey. It's kind of telly, and it's definitely not showing anything. Okay. So now we're gonna go back to this exact parsed spot. Or anyway, I just cut and copied this, and now I'm gonna put it in, and I'm highlighting the things that are missing or out of order. Okay. So first, with her forefinger, Dahlia pricked the pin, or the pin pricked her, whatever. That's her first motivation. The part that is missing is the reaction.
Right.
Okay.
And the wince from below is already present. We can move it up.
I
right?
put that in red to show that it's in the wrong spot. So we're going to be moving it. So now I'm going to go back over to here. We're just going to do this. The portion of section 1 at the very beginning, if you put in every single one of the 4 or 5 motivation, like the reaction units, with her finger, she pricks the pin, blah, blah, blah. Pain burned into her finger. That's the physical sensation. Okay, I didn't put the emotion, but whatever. I put a physical sensation. That's an internal reaction. She winced. That's her external reaction. Of course she winced. Shut up. H-E double hockey sticks or double chopsticks. That is her thoughts. So we're going right in order, okay? Now listen to this. This is even better. She wanted to kick someone, but so much was going on. She couldn't stop and make a decision about how to act because all she could do was stare. So we have her decision, which is that she doesn't make a decision. And her new action is to stare at what else is going on. I think that's specifying a little too much. And then we have
the problem is we're out of order there.
Oh,
all she can do is stare is her reaction to the desert melting away like the sandcastle in the wind. Right?
Well,
so much is going on.
She can't. Well, I was trying to have
we don't know that anything is going on until the desert melts away, right?
All she could do was stare. No, but then we get the new motivation. We're seeing what.
But you have her react to it before, which you can do. It's a stylistic choice.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But anyway, what I'm trying to do here was show that this is such a minor thing compared to what's coming next.
Right.
Which is that she discovers this new world, right? This pinprick is so minor that I don't recommend that you go into all 5 parts or whatever. Like, and certainly don't specify that she makes a decision to not act and then not act.
Right.
Which actually even confused Heather. I was just trying to say she like literally decides to do nothing about this pain prick thing. Like she wanted to kick someone, she didn't actually do anything because
you were demonstrating what would happen if you hung the lantern, which you did, and it didn't work that well.
So let's go on to the way you could do this with like almost no motive.
This is way better though.
So with her forefinger, Dahlia pricked the pin or whatever. Wincing, she watched. You just keep going. Like you just literally only put one thing there. You could even skip it entirely, but I do think because this is inherently painful and because you want I as the writer, I am telling you, I want this new world to be cool. I want it to be exciting for her. So I want to separate her reaction of pain from seeing this. So I want to put that she winced because of the pinprick, and then I want to go on to the next thing, and then I want to put her reaction to it. Okay, so that was my decision. Okay, but you could even skip the word wincing. Okay, so going back up here, we have this part now.
Here's a quick question though. Does the pinprick cause the world to change?
Yeah, it does. Okay. So I decided in my final version of it, you'll see this is how I would personally do it as an author. The pin pricks her, pain shot through her skin, she licked away blood as the desert around her melted away. So we have a few things. We have the physical reaction, and we have some physical stuff happening, like she licked away the blood, that's her visceral reaction. But we don't go on to like decision and action and thought and all of that. We don't like go into it too much, but we do have an internal reaction and an external reaction that she licked away the blood. So I don't know. And again, it's totally stylistic. I mean, Heather, you could totally do it differently.
It's totally your call. Yeah.
It's just your call. And I actually really like it. I think when you dig into it, this is what makes writing really, really fun.
Right. And then you go to a critique group and the two of you sit there and you're like, but why would you put that first? But why would you, you know?
And it's kind of like poetry. And actually, I think it's really cool too, because this scene can read so differently depending on your market. Like one time you might write a book where you really want to dig into visceral reactions, and one time you might want to write a book where a person doesn't value that as much or doesn't seem to notice their own physical reactions as much. And so they just don't like include that so much as a narrator because it's just not as important to them. And so I think that's really fun, the way you can change it up and make your style really different from book to book. And the more you know about this, the more you can be really deliberate. Exactly. You can be really deliberate, which is perfect. Okay. So I've moved this. So we're going to keep going. The desert is our next motivation. We've moved this. Now, with the desert, we can do a full reaction unit to this, a full reaction to this motivation, or we can combine this motivation and this motivation into, we can just kind of smush them together, make them all one big
What
thing.
did you decide to do?
I decided
would definitely go full on the second one because the world just changed.
Right. So I chose.
So I don't care about the starfish.
Right. I chose to go ahead and put in the motivation reaction unit again. So should we just
show them?
Show it to
let's
them?
do it.
Oh, where is it? Right here. So here we have, you know, the desert melting away. Her exhausted muscles shook. So that is, I've skipped the internal reaction though, really. That's really her external reaction. Wonder took over the drive to slaughter.
That's your thoughts, I guess?
No, that's not really a thought.
Or is that the visceral?
Actually, maybe I should.
That might be the visceral.
I should probably do that one.
That's your thought, that's your feeling.
I mean, technically, that's her internal reaction, right? That's her emotion and stuff. Yeah, so that's probably a little better. And again, I mean, there's some give, right? I mean, there's a little bit of give, right? But whatever, this is probably better. Wonder took over the drive to slaughter. Her exhausted muscles shook. She could only stare. And again, I'm kind of showing that she's not making decisions right now. She's still in this kind of numb mode. And this is where showing, I think, really shows up well. When we say show, don't tell, we don't mean go on and on and on about the things people are seeing. That's not what we mean. We just mean when we get to your certain key moments on your motivation reaction unit, that you don't say she was numb. You say what that meant to her. She could only stare.
Right. Show me a person who feels that way, because we've all felt that way.
Right. And then we show more of the world, because that's what
she's still staring.
She's still staring at it. Even though it's essentially the same thing that already happened. The world is there and it was different than it was before. So we're not really getting a new motivation here. Okay, so, but I just put it here to show you that she's caught up in processing this world. Okay, so I'm showing you that. And then, oh, whoops, I don't know what I just did there. Uh-oh. Okay, so then we go on to, I'm gonna go back up here. So you can see what parts we're missing. We have the goals, bickering, and all of that. So technically that's motivation 3. A swirling sensation tore through her. That's the first. I shouldn't have highlighted that. Sorry, that shouldn't be highlighted. No color. Whatever. Anyway, this was in the original, right? So, but we need to specify that this is part of a reaction. And so we need to make sure that we know what the swirling sensation is. So is it a swirling sensation, or we need to just ditch it if it's not really that important? I think maybe I just ditched it. I can't even remember. Does she still have a swirling sensation? Yeah, apparently I got rid of the swirling sensation. But you could say like a swirling sensation of awe or something if you really wanted, if you like that sentence, you know. But you need to make sure that we know that it's a reaction.
What it means, right?
Yeah. And then but for this whole the world changing thing, we need a really true, not just I'm numb now, but we need a really true internal reaction, a physical sensation or emotion. For her, she is physically soothed. She is surprised and awe and happiness. That's what I'm going for. So now as a reader, or as a writer, I need to make a decision how to convey that. First of all, if I should convey it, and secondly, how to do it. The next thing I'll have to convey is her external reaction. I'm going to have that she's checking the place. I guess I already did that one. She's checking the place out. thought is super necessary to clarify her decision and to foreshadow the stakes of the coming motivation. This is super important. Okay, let me tell you why. Down here at decision, her decision, and I know this is the author's, that she wants to talk to Gina. She now knows how to solve an earlier problem. All she has to do now is communicate with Gina. So her decision is to talk to Gina by returning back to her old world. And her action was supposed to be not just that she turned, but she turned to look for the pin that's acting as this portal to this new world. Okay, the reason why we have to know all of that is so that we can cross this was bad out. For this final line, this motivation, we should know what's going on well enough that we are hit with this reaction unit. And not, we don't have to show the character doing it at all because it's happening inside the reader, which makes it super punchy. Okay?
And then that only the forest greeted her, that's the end of the scene, right? That's where we cut, that's the disaster, and we know it is.
Exactly. So you never, when you get to the disaster, you don't want to have a reaction. That's the only time you don't want to have it. So you have to foreshadow it beforehand. So the way that we do it, it's not like super hard. It's really not. So she has, she can only stare, the goals are bickering, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I have like typos everywhere. The alternate world, it existed. The alternate world existed, and that meant Dallin could go free if only Gina knew in time.
Which means we have to talk to Gina now, or Dallin will not go free.
High stakes. We have somebody dying. She's probably really good looking too, I'm thinking. Just by this scene, I'm already thinking he's good looking.
To transport back.
Yeah, and then like, Gina, Dahlia turned, looking for the pin to transfer back to her. So we don't just have her turn. We say what she is trying to do.
You're stating the goal. That's how we know.
That's her decision. Because the action, only Forrest greeted her. And we already know here why that's so bad. And then it's like a real dun,
right.
Dun, dun.
And then our next scene, if we're talking scene and sequel, our next scene is going to start with a reaction to this disaster,
in a bigger way.
And now she has a dilemma with no good decisions, and she's got to make a new goal.
Right. So, and then I wanted to show you too. So here it is with showing. It's really not that much longer than it was before. It's really, you know, it's about the same, but things are in better order. We can get rid of a thought that was sort of telly, and we can just kind of shore up, you know, just a few little things. It's really not that much more writing, because sometimes when you want to show things, they're like, oh, well, I don't have that much time. I don't have that much story space.
Just occurred to me with the line, "This was bad." It's just the same as when you say to the reader, "This was funny."
Oh, right.
Or the character was smart.
You're telling them
the
how to
character
feel.
is spunky and needs a family.
You want an ideal ending is that the reader
says in their head,
to decide. Well, and the ideal ending for an entire book is that the reader gets to decide whether that means what it meant. You know what I mean? And what the final R in the MR unit is. They get to make up their own mind on the final R. And that's true of each scene. Within each scene, now you're going to go on to the next scene and kind of tell them what the R was. Right? You know what I'm saying? But it's sort of a micro.
But what gets them to turn the page is making up their own.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, they're done. Oh, this is bad. Oh, okay.
Right.
It like resolves it, sort of. It somehow.
Right. Well, and it just tells them too much. It just, readers want to experience it. Again, they don't want to be told, and then this happened and it was so bad. They just want to live it.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to live this cool, like, they just got to go to this new world, and now they get to decide whether they want to go in a new world or whether it was awesome or not. That's their decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, I'm starting to shiver. I'm so cold. Why am I so cold? Okay, thanks, you guys. Hopefully some of you found that to be helpful and useful. I never checked any chats on here. I'm so sorry. Oh, we're going to do our giveaway in the email.
Yeah.
We're going to pick right now. We're going to go and figure out all the people who chatted us. We will pick 2 people. It will be fantastical. You'll probably get that email mañana. That means tomorrow.
Okay.
Spanish.
Good luck with your first chapters.
Okay.
What's your writing?
Adios. Okay. Bye, you guys.